People were left weak and the enemy took advantage of these circumstances to take these people who had been born to triumph to the greatest of all misfortunes. 2. When everyone pulls their own way and no one agrees, then misfortune is like knocking on the door. 153. Or when there is no united front in the home, or when the children pull on one side and the parents on the other, or when there are divided groups in the church, then we are headed for disgrace and ruin. Be the person who made you exist, seeing you in that situation, can only cry, because he knows that his dreams or his plans and wishes for you will never come true, that is, in a disunited couple, in a divided family, in a divided church, or in a person who has a divided soul. God is limited in his work. Formalism. 1. The people of God not only had problems because of their struggle for independence or because of the way they treated others or because of the division in which they lived, the worst of all was their formalism, and they knew what they had to do and they simply did it, as if that would be enough. They were more concerned with complying with the rules than with maintaining a relationship with the Lord of the rules. The rules and laws were their priority. What interested them most was that everyone knew them because of the number of laws that they strictly complied with. They had all the appearance of a child of God but were not born of God. 1. Let me explain. They seemed to be children of God. They had everything that a child of God has, but in reality they were not children of God. They seemed, but they were not. They even had a last name, and in the eyes of people they seemed that way, but they weren't. 2. The worst of all is that they themselves were not aware of their reality. They thought and believed that they were already children of God for having been born in Israel and for doing everything that the Israelites did. 2. We today can also truncate our development and leave it halfway or finally fall into disgrace for this same reason. Formalism. Being an Adventist and living as an Adventist in the eyes of people is easy. Having the form of an Adventist, it is simple, but it is not enough. Being a child of God is more than being baptized and returning the tithe or keeping the Sabbath strictly. It is more than that. Being a child of God means being born again and living in permanent communion with God. It means dying every day to sin and being born every day of God and for God. Let me tell you that just as before, today, our concern for forms, for what people see, means that we do not give importance to what is really important, what no one sees, what happens in our minds and our heart. Before, the people of God truncated their development due to their desire for independence, also due to the misuse of their position or due to lack of a correct understanding. 154 regarding their position, also due to the divisionism in which they lived, and finally due to their formalism. Today, I hope, some and not the vast majority of us, suffer and live in this world surviving, making God sad, making our loved ones sad, or finally feeling ourselves dissatisfied and unfulfilled, for the same reasons already mentioned. God loves you, loves your family, loves his church, loves this institution, and the day that by divine will you were born, or the day that by divine will your family was born, or the day that by divine will this church or this institution was born, God dreamed, and he dreamed the best. The dreams of the one who produced your existence and the existence of everything we see surpass your plans, projects or desires. We, however, believe that this or that is the result of our effort or talent, that this or that is the result of our work or management. Many times we even think that we could do things better if we were in someone else's position. What a big mistake of ours. After all, everything we can do or all our best wishes will never be able to make us, our family, our church or this institution what God desires. The only way to achieve that is by let God do things and not us. Let him be the director of the work and we are simple workers willing to obey the director. I don't know what the situation will be in which you find yourself today. I don't know if when evaluating your life you feel that you are on the way to misfortune or triumph. I don't know, and possibly you are not even aware of your real situation. The only one who knows if your dream is coming true in you, it is God, the one who brought you into existence, knows if you, your family, the church and why not say the university are realizing the dream that he had the day he allowed each of us to exist, of us. But today I want to invite you to reflect on what we said at the beginning of the message. God's will was for you to be born, and today his will is for you to be prosperous, happy, useful and above all saved. And if in some corner of your mind the idea comes that one day you were on your way to fulfill that dream but that for some reason, possibly some of the ones mentioned, you stopped your walk or turned back and you find yourself stagnant, or on the way to misfortune, or perhaps you are not only on the way but you have already arrived at it, I want to invite you to reflect on the text that we read this morning where God, our Father, tells us, "With eternal love I have loved you, therefore I extend my mercy to you." God our Father, because he loves us, gives us a new opportunity. No matter what we have lost, no matter the situation we find ourselves in, no matter how far from fulfilling God's dream we are. He says, I always loved you, when you were born I loved you, when you were growing up I loved you. When you were in the desert of this world facing problems that, like swords, were about to take your life, situations that I allowed and used to help you fulfill my dream, there I also loved you, when you disappointed me and lost your way and didn't let me guide you, I continued to love you, and today, regardless of the situation you find yourself in, I continue to love you. Because you are my son, with eternal love I have loved you, and because you are my son I continue to give you a new opportunity. This is the fourth stage that can only be experienced with the help of God and by His love and mercy, the stage of rebirth. IV. Rebirth, by the mercy of God. Lesson. God is a Father who is always willing to give us a new opportunity to recover even what is apparently impossible to recover. It only depends on our response to His offer and condition. A. Promise to recover material assets. 1. The text we have read says, they will still plant vineyards, and those who plant will enjoy them. A planting and harvesting was one of the most important activities for man's subsistence in the times of Israel. B. What God is promising us here is the return of what was our source of resources and income for our maintenance. 1. I don't know, but possibly here there is someone who lost his job some time ago. Or possibly there is someone who God dreamed to be a millionaire but today he is not one and lives mediocre. Or possibly here there is someone who God dreamed to be a millionaire, a great businessman, but today he is a small or medium businessman. 2. I don't know, and as I already told you, possibly you don't even know what God thought for you. Possibly you are thinking, this must be what God wanted for me, but let me tell you that God surely dreamed better and bigger things for me. You. B. Promise to recover the family. 1. The text we have read also says they will plant on the mountains of Samaria. Samaria became the capital of the group of Israelites who had been divided.